Hey everybody, it's Andrew here at the Douglas Moon Fragrance channel. I give you my honest thoughts and opinions about all sorts of fragrances, from the cheap to the luxurious and expensive and niche. Today, I want to give you my top 10 best men's fragrances for men, understanding that I'm using top 10 and best very loosely because there are no objectively best fragrances for men or women, because at the end of the day, it's subjective and there's so many that could go on this list. I'm going to do more of these in the future and put other things on this list. But today I'm going to do some of my favorites in no particular order except for the first one. And I'm going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully you enjoy. Tell me your thoughts about these and let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. So starting this off with my absolute favorite fragrance in the entire universe, from the first whiff to now, I just can't get enough of it and I love it so much I had to buy 2 bottles to have one as a backup. That would be Naxos by Xerjoff. As you can see, I just love looking at it. The bottle is absolutely beautiful. I can't get enough of the overall fragrance profile. It's an eau de parfum compared to some of their other fragrances that are pure parfum concentration, and yet I can say that I have not experienced a single other house have things that are immediately and then from start to finish as powerful and long lasting overall, like radiating off of you, as pretty much every Xerjoff for the most part, and this one in particular is my absolute favorite. The notes is honey, cashmere, cinnamon, jasmine, sambac, tobacco leaf, and vanilla with lavender and bergamot. Now, I get mostly a very pure, true to the core honey type of profile coming from this, and it has that tobacco and the vanilla so beautifully done. Different than, I love tobacco fragrances. It's definitely different, definitely unique compared to most other honey forward and tobacco centric fragrances that I personally smelled. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it lasts forever, it radiates off of you, and normally people don't normally get compliments that much. It's not super common because a lot of people are shy, that people will just come up to you throughout an entire day, but this one has actually done that for me, even when I'm in public, fairly often. So Naxos by Xerjoff, my favorite fragrance in the entire world, and also it's just incredible for men and women. Anybody I think could wear this. Very honey, definitely very vanilla, got the lavender, the jasmine, but the tobacco and the honey shine the most through for this for me, and I think it's just the best fragrance I've ever smelled. It's subjective, but I definitely guarantee anybody out there, if you give this a shot, you will not be disappointed. The next one on my personal list here is one that I hated at first, because if you actually look on Reddit, a lot of people also say the same thing. It has to grow on you a little, but when you first smell this one, it has like a Vicks Vapor Rub kind of feel to it, just for a little bit, just for a few seconds. And if you don't understand, you need to give things a moment to calm down. You can throw like a paper strip in the trash. Try things on your skin. Always encourage you doing that. But Layton by Parfums de Marly has become one of my absolute favorite fragrances in the entire universe. It is powerful. It lasts. This is an updated batch code, and it still goes and goes and goes. Performance, one of the best ones from the house for me personally, and things don't stick to my skin very well. The notes for this is apple, bergamot, lavender, and mandarin orange at the top, geranium, violet, and jasmine, and then vanilla, cardamom, sandalwood, gaiac wood, and patchouli. And again, something about it, it starts off with like a little vibe. I don't know what it is. It's basically the lavender and the bergamot and everything kind of blending together, and gives this that tiny bit of Vicks Vapor Rub type of oily rub smell, but then it clears off and it becomes absolutely beautiful. A lot of people say that a lot of people wear this. I've not smelled this on hardly anybody, on anyone personally in general. And if you live in a bigger city like London, maybe you'll encounter that. It doesn't really matter. Let's all share it. Let's enjoy amazing fragrances and be happy if somebody else has this too. But you will stand out, you will be noticed, and people will tell you it's fantastic if they get close enough to smell this. It's a beautiful fragrance. Layton by Parfums de Marly. I say add this to your collection. You can't go wrong. Next, I'm going to mention one that's more from the designer end of things. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is not my favorite one from the line of this, but it is the one that I think is more approachable for most people to introduce themselves to this line if they was to choose to do so. And that would be Male Le Parfum by Jean-Paul Gaultier. A lot of people always say go for the eau de toilette. I like it well enough, but I don't want to own it. I had it, I gave it away. The eau de toilette is just really not my favorite. It's cool because it's classic, but Le Parfum, definitely different, definitely enhanced from the original. My personal favorite from the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male line is the Elixir. I just did a video on the new Absolute. Again, that one was also not my favorite, but the original Elixir from Jean-Paul Gaultier is my favorite fragrance from the whole line. It's incredible, beautiful, long-lasting, and powerful, but it has a honey note different from Naxos, a little bit more of a synthetic-y kind of honey note, and the tonka bean comes together very strongly. I think it's amazing. My wife loves it, but a lot of people around me, they also enjoy it, but in general prefer this one. It's a little bit more subtle. Very good lasting power, just like the Elixir, but not as radiant as the Elixir. This one's more going to come undertones, be more relaxed. More simple notes, because again, this is designer. It just simply says cardamom, lavender, iris, vanilla, oriental notes, and woodsy notes. It's amazing. It's simple as an overall profile, and yet unique and different from most designer fragrances. You can't go wrong with this. Anybody could add this to the collection. The price is actually pretty good. Very good, actually, overall, compared to other designers for what you get out of it. And compared to a lot of designer brands and companies, this has, again, good staying power, good longevity. It just doesn't have the most beastly projection like the Elixir does. But you can't go wrong with it. I highly recommend Le Parfum by Jean-Paul Gaultier, the Le Male edition. The next fragrance that I'm going to talk about, I only have a sample of this. It's an official sample, but I didn't get a full bottle because I wasn't sure what I was going to think. This one is marketed towards women, but a lot of men wear it, and I obviously definitely recommend that anybody can wear anything that they want. Nobody has to wear something just because of who it's marketed to. My personal thoughts. And this would be Frédéric Malle. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Frédéric Malle, I think that's how you say it. Portrait of a Lady. So again, you can get a decent sample off of websites like FragranceNet, or I'm pretty sure off of their official website. And it is rose, clove, raspberry, black currant, cinnamon, and red berries with Turkish rose, patchouli, incense, ylang ylang, and sandalwood. And then at the base, musk, sandalwood, amber, and cedar. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, berry-forward, fruity, sandalwoody rose fragrance. I personally like rose fragrances. I enjoy floral fragrances in general. I'm not the biggest on fruity fragrances, to be honest with you, like berries. I like citrus kind of, but berry type things not really for me. I tend to be more woodsy, smoky type of vibe, but I love floral and rose. This does it in a very unique way. It isn't cheap smelling. It is beautiful. It's got good lasting power and really good projection. I've tried this on a handful of my coworkers because, not to use them as lab rats, but I'm noticing that's one of the best things that I personally can do to really see how things overall work and last, because we can go nose blind. This is incredible. It does the job, and for a rose fragrance, again, I think that even though it has a fruity, rosy feel, and it might sound like it's just for women, anybody could wear this, and a lot of men do like to wear this, and again, good projection, good longevity, and just overall unique and different. You'll stand out with this. So again, Portrait of a Lady by Frédéric Malle. I think it's incredible, beautiful, and you should give it a shot. A little bit more expensive overall. I'm not going to say that it's cheap, but if you want something unique, something floral, something rosy, give it a shot. And with that said, as an honorable mention, so I'm going to say this is number 4.2 technically. So I'm not counting this as the top 10, but just while I'm talking about rose fragrances, I want to say my personal favorite rose fragrance that I wear is Rose Incense. I have a couple that I'm going to do reviews for. Most of these actually that I'm doing a review for today, technically I haven't even, or that I'm talking about today in this top 10, I haven't even posted my actual review videos of them yet. So those will still be coming as far as a lot of these individual videos. But I just want to do this one just to give you guys an idea of what I like and what I think would be great for your collection. But Rose Incense by Amouage, this is incredible. It's, I don't know how to say this properly, so forgive me. Olibanum, ink, alimi, don't know what those things are other than ink. Damask rose, again olibanum, and then myrrh, sandalwood, and cedar at the base. This fragrance is so, oh, it's beautiful. If you're looking for a rose fragrance that has a more masculine tinge than Frédéric Malle's Portrait of a Lady, this is definitely something that could be unisex even a little bit more, but it's incredibly priced for what it is, the materials that go into this. Super rosy, and yet not in a abrasive way, because that incensey, inky undertone just comes with it and makes it so smoky and so just pure and raw, and it lasts and lasts and just radiates off of you, and it goes for a very long time like a lot of Amouage fragrances do. Fantastic Middle Eastern perfumery. I could not rate this enough that you guys got to give this a shot. If you're looking to get into a rose fragrance, this is a good place to start for something more earthy, just more pure. I love it, and I just had to honorably mention that. If you're looking for a rose fragrance, Amouage's Rose Incense, cannot go wrong with that. All right, so next up, we're going a little bit back towards one of my other favorite companies again. Again, a handful of these are going to be from the same company, same perfumers. That's okay. They're just some of my favorites. I wanted to make this list to kind of compile them. But next, we're going to be talking about Parfums de Marly's Herod, one of my other favorites by this house, although I have so many of them, it's not really that funny at this point. But cinnamon, pepperwood, tobacco leaf, osmanthus, incense, and labdanum, vanilla at the base with Ice Super, cedar, musk, cypriol oil, and vetiver. A lot of different things. I don't know what half of those things are. I'm not a professional. I just love fragrances. But this, dark, sexy, just beautiful. It's just got something so special about it. I love the bottles. They're so weighty. They got a heavy metal cap. I just like popping it on and off, even though I probably shouldn't do that. This is also an extremely good longevity laster. I don't like using these terms, but like it's a beast mode. It will go and go and go, and yet it's beautiful, it's rich, it's dark. It will definitely just make you kind of stand out in a very nice, mysterious kind of way. Herod by Parfums de Marly. I would say definitely if you're trying to even go for a Parfums de Marly, you want to give something a shot. This is very safe, and yet dense, rich, and different. So, gotta add this to your collection if you're gonna start something out, if you're gonna go more niche. Again, all Parfums de Marly are pretty expensive, but I cannot tell you enough, this is worth it. It's beautiful, and it will just do exactly what you're hoping for it to do. I rate this very highly, and I can't wait to do a full review on this later on. So this next one is another one that I also was not a huge fan of at first because there was something about it that just took me a second to understand what it was I was really smelling in the first place. And that would be one of my now top two, like next to Naxos. This is my second favorite fragrance in the entire world. So it goes to show you, you need to give things a shot and really kind of understand and get your nose on different things before you make a full judgment. And that would be 40 Knots by Xerjoff. Just like Naxos, definitely Xerjoff has become my favorite overall house. Again, their longevity, their projection, their staying power, and their materials that they use is just phenomenal. Again, they're not cheap by any means, but they are incredible. And you can get them off of discounter sites, the real bottles, and they're amazing bottles. But 40 Knots by Xerjoff, seawater, salt, green notes, cedar, woody notes. So they keep it very simple for the overall description compared to a lot of other fragrances. But what I did struggle with this is that it has a really true to the core sea type of fragrance profile to it. Compared to a lot of things you think of like Bleu de Chanel and things like that that are more aquatically themed. This really does carry that beginning sharpness of like a chlorine sea, like ocean musky water type of scent. But it turns into something so rich, so spicy, and just so beautiful and oceanic. That's just the most unique oceanic fragrance I personally ever smelled. Again, I love the bottle. I love the blue, the color. 40 Knots by Xerjoff. You cannot go wrong with this. My second favorite fragrance in the entire world. Almost tied with Naxos, but it is so soothing, so different, so luxurious. I highly recommend getting your nose on this if you can. And it's an excellent addition if you want to stand out and have something just overall unique and different in your collection. 40 Knots by Xerjoff, can't go wrong with it. And while we're on the Xerjoff train, I gotta do one more by this company. Again, I'm sorry, but they've become my favorite, and they make some of the most incredible, unique fragrances ever. This one is definitely the most expensive out of all the ones that I've showed you so far. It's a pure parfum concentration instead of an eau de parfum. I told you the other ones last and last and last. Well, their parfums radiate off of you forever. And this one, I hated at first. Because I didn't know what to expect. I had a very untrained nose to niche fragrances in general. It is not a bad fragrance at all. I was just so used to your typical Bleu de Chanel and Dolce & Gabbana, Light Blue Paco Rabanne 1 million elixir type stuff. I was so used to that, I was not prepared for something different. And by the way, if you don't like my babbling and my talking, you know what? I'm not even sorry, because this is my channel. I appreciate everybody who does watch. I'm going to be me. I welcome anybody who's just willing to listen. Again, I'm not a professional, but I love perfumery. I love talking about them. And I want to share my thoughts with anyone out there, and I'd love to hear yours as well. So again, I'm not going to keep apologizing for being myself. I've done that a lot, and I don't want to keep doing that because I am who I am, and I talk a lot. And I like to think about the things that I love and express the way that I feel about them. So if you're still with me, thank you. I am sorry for that little pause there. But this is Alexandria II by Xerjoff. The notes on this baby is lavender, rosewood, cinnamon, and apple at the top. Cedar, lily of the valley, and rose. Then sandalwood, vanilla, amber, musk, and oud. Again, this was incredibly challenging for me because the rose with the, I don't know, something about the undertone of the oud just came so strongly at first. When you spray it, extremely powerful. Needs a moment to calm down. This is not a blast it on and then smell it right away type of thing. You need to give it a second, but once it breaks down, this is one of the most beautiful fragrances in the entire world. And I cannot get enough of this. It's so luxurious. It feels like you're walking through a classic, like you're in Egypt, you're walking through a pyramid, or you're in some beautiful castle somewhere, and you're just smelling the history with the beauty and the regality, and it is incredible. It's phenomenal, very expensive, but if you ever get your hands on this, it's incredible to add to your collection. And I adore this. Alexandria II by Xerjoff. Again, something like this, very niche. You got to give yourself a little bit to cool down to see if you really like it. I'm not telling you you have to make yourself like it, but don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a book by its first couple of sprays. Give it some time and then see how you feel about it. But if you do end up appreciating this, I can't get my nose off of it now. I love it. Xerjoff Alexandria II. Highly recommend putting this in your collection. All right, next up, I'm going to take it back to the designer territory. This is one of the first fragrances that I started doing, that I purchased on my fragrance journey, and I absolutely love this one. It is classic. I think that every single person would never go wrong having this. And for a designer, it's a little bit more on the pricey end, but it's still, you cannot go wrong with it, and it will not fail you. And although it would seem that I just failed myself. Sorry about that. Anyways, it tried to run away from me, but I still have it. That is Bleu de Chanel's Parfum. How horrible would it have been if I broke this? But Bleu de Chanel's Parfum by Chanel, obviously. This is lemon zest, bergamot, lavender, mint, sandalwood, cedar, amberwood, and tonka bean. What it really is classic and beautiful. It is. I haven't actually honestly given the other parts of this line a chance, but this Parfum, the Bleu de Chanel Parfum, is so powdery, sandalwoody, beautiful. It's just a very simple, well blended. It's a very well blended fragrance. It's not unique and very rich in the sense of like the multiple layers, but for what it is extremely well blended and done in such a gorgeous, luxurious smelling way. And compared to, again, a lot of other, no offense to anybody who likes mostly designer fragrances, but compared to a lot of the ones you're going to smell at the store, this just has a richness to it that just speaks to the soul. And it's classic, it's familiar, but everybody could have this in their collection and just wear it anytime that you want. It's soothing for a night out, but it's also very, very relaxing and soothing for time at home, just to be at peace. I love this. Bleu de Chanel Parfum, you cannot go wrong with this, and anybody could add this to your collection. You don't have to have a bottle as big as me. I just really love it, and I like to preserve it. But you, give it a shot. You can pretty much smell this in most malls and most Sephoras and places like that. So give it a shot before you buy, but you can't go wrong with adding this to your collection. It's a classic. Speaking of classics, I'm going to take it somewhere a little bit very much, I don't know why I said a little bit, completely down that line, down that frame, and that would be Dior Homme Intense. I love Dior Sauvage Parfum, Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum, and then obviously I love Dior Sauvage Elixir. But for me, if I'm going to say something in the top 10, those are very well known, but Dior Homme Intense, I love this smell. I just smelled it for the first time a few weeks ago, and I went cocoa bananas over this. The notes, very simple: lavender, powdery iris, musk, mallow, whatever that is, pear, and woody vetiver. This is so beautiful. It's so classic. Something about this fragrance, when you smell it, it has this very, very traditional classic man's perfumery. Again, anybody can wear whatever they want. Women can wear this too and be perfectly acceptable. But Dior Homme Intense is just very strong, decent, long-lasting. Not the most long-lasting fragrance ever, obviously, especially compared to more niche houses. But for what it is, very good projection, very good lasting power overall, and longevity. But the smell is just so classic, musky, strong, that powdery iris. It's just soothing, but at the same time boisterous, and not offensive, and yet strong. And anyone could love this. My wife is crazy about this one. I'm crazy about this one. It's not the most expensive thing ever, especially if you get it from a discounter, but either way, it's a very good, reasonable price. Dior Homme Intense, I love it. I love it, and I think you gotta get your nose on it, but I don't think that you'll be disappointed. And I think that anybody could add this to the collection, just like Bleu de Chanel Parfum or the Jean Paul Gaultier, and just have it as a daily wear. This could be a good signature scent for pretty much anyone in any season, I personally think. So Dior Homme Intense, highly recommend. Last, but certainly not least, and it was really hard for me to choose which one of the line I wanted to do for this particular video, but again, I'll add others in later videos where I do more of these, because remember, it might say top 10 or whatever I've decided to title this to try to get people to watch, but there's no necessarily top anything when it comes to fragrances or art and stuff. It's all subjective, but there are hundreds and hundreds that fit on, you could choose any one of them and do perfectly well and enjoy them. But this one, I adore this. I adore the bottle. I adore the fragrance. I loved it completely. And this is Amouage Interlude Black Iris. I don't even know if you can see the beauty of this bottle here, but Amouage Interlude Black Iris was a game changer for me because I was afraid to order the original Interlude anyway. I got a sample of that one. Now I have a full bottle, and I also have Interlude 53. I have the whole Interlude line basically because I love them all so much. I, at times, prefer the original, but this one's a little bit more appealing to more people. It's more mass appealing overall because of the brightness to it compared to a little bit too much denseness and a little bit too much richness of the original, which is the oregano, compared to this one I believe has rosemary. And that's what it says: rosemary, bergamot, olibanum, whatever that is, orris, labdanum, vanilla, amber, cedarwood, agarwood, leather, cedar, and patchouli. This one is just so beautiful. The rosemary mixed with everything else, the agarwood, the patchouli, the bergamot, it is so unique. I've smelled absolutely nothing else like this. I love this so much. This is one of my favorite fragrances in the entire world, and it's not for everybody. The entire Interlude line, and honestly, a lot of Amouage's fragrances other than Reflections, is hard for a lot of people to get their nose on and understand right at first. You got to give it some time. But should you add this to your collection, for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people, you will love this. It will stand out 100%. It will be unique and different. And it's just beautiful. This is beautifully done perfumery, Middle Eastern, very strong, very radiant. The original Interlude Man comes off you a lot more, but this one is very powerful, very long lasting, and it is so unique and different and bright, but smoky and earthy. I love this one so much. And again, it was hard for me to choose which one I wanted to add to this particular, out of the line, which one I wanted to add to this particular video. But by the way, for anybody who gets curious with my ADD, ADHD, whatever, why I'm up and down all the time, is because currently where I've got my camera set up, I have to squat. That's also why you might hear me get out of breath a lot, because I'm in like a good squat position, getting them cheeks right when I'm doing these whole videos or whatever. But it's just because of where I have to do this for the time being, till I make it a little bit more professional in the coming future. But anyway, back to it. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But Black Iris, Interlude Black Iris by Amouage, I absolutely love it. Give it a try. If there's anywhere that you can smell it, where I'm at, there was nowhere you can just sort of sample it. But if you can, I do recommend maybe buying a sample off of FragranceNet or Max Aroma before you fully commit to a bottle. But if you do like this, you will love it. I don't think there's anything in between. There's either you hate it or you're crazy about it. But Black Iris is definitely a beautiful, beautiful standout fragrance that will last an extremely long time and perfect for your collection. So thank you guys again so much for watching this. Thank you again. I'm creeping up. Hopefully maybe by the end of this week, I'll be there. If not, either way, I'm so thankful. I'm almost to 60,000 subscribers. I just hit 57,000 today, and I am emotional about it, but I'm going to keep my cool while I do this video. I cannot believe how many people are watching my videos and leaving comments and your thoughts and suggestions and just showing appreciation for what I'm doing. I'm just a regular person who has a normal job. I work for a candle supply company, or for people who make candles. I never know how to word it just right, but it's called Candle Science in North Carolina. And for people who make candles, like big companies and stuff, we supply everything they need, from the fragrances and the oils to materials and whatever, the waxes and every single thing that you would use, jars, to make those candles. Big companies order from us. It's a multi-million dollar company. And that's what I do. I say all that because a lot of people think like, that's a real successful thing. Yes, it is. And that's what I work for. I love it. I love candles almost as much as I love perfumery. And so I don't do this personally, professionally. And hopefully maybe one day I could take this to somewhere else. I would love to maybe be able to study perfumery one day and start making my own at some point. But for now, I'm just so grateful that anybody's been watching me and supporting me and telling me that I'm doing okay, because I'm just talking about things that I love. Perfumery means so much to me. Maybe I'll go ahead and tell you guys now, if anybody's still watching, but perfumery was how I escaped. As a child, I went through a lot of things. Not gonna get into that, but going into my mother's bedroom and smelling her perfume and then so forth when I visited family members and stuff, it just brought me peace, brought me back down to earth, made me feel secure. And I've loved fragrances and scent profiles and things ever since. Any chance I can get to smell fragrances or candles, like I said, it's just my favorite thing in the world, my favorite personal form of artistry. So I love it, it's beautiful, and I'm just glad that I get to talk about these things on YouTube to people, share things I love, hear what you love, and that people are actually appreciating it. So again, my babbling is over for now, but this has been a starter top 10. So many more to come, so much more to talk about. I'd love to hear what you'd like to see me review, and I thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I love you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, night, whatever, and God bless each and every one of you, no matter who you are, what you believe, or where you come from. Andrew Douglas Lane from the Douglas Moon Fragrance Channel. I'll see you.